Today, we're diving into a phrase that sounds so harmless, but is actually a pretty wild psychological move. We're calling it the "is that so?" defense. You ever been in a conversation and someone says something so simple, yet so bizarre, that it just completely short circuits your brain? You're left standing there thinking, wait, what just happened? It's that moment where reality itself just seems to bend a little. Well, let's unpack that feeling with a perfect real-world example. So it all starts with this one little phrase, "Oh, is that so?" On the surface, it sounds like a totally normal question, right? But in the right situation, oh man, it becomes something else entirely. Let's get into a quick story. Okay, so picture this. A woman's over at a guy's house. It's her first time there. Everything's pretty normal. The social rules seem totally clear. But then she does something that, well, it definitely crosses a line. She finds his personal perfume, his private stuff, and just starts spraying it on herself without asking. It's a small thing, sure, but it's a big overstep. So the guy notices and he decides, he has to say something. He confronts her, but he's pretty straightforward about it. He just states a fact. Hey, that perfume is mine. Totally reasonable. In her response, it's not, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It's not, "Oops, my bad." It's this, "Oh, is that so?" And that is the moment where everything just shatters. Because that isn't just a weird thing to say, it is a seriously sophisticated defense mechanism at work. So what is actually going on here? This isn't just someone with bad manners. It's a complete systemic breakdown of responsibility, and it's pulled off using 4 very distinct psychological moves. The big idea here has a name. It's called systemic decoupling. It sounds kind of technical, but all it really means is that someone verbally just unplugs themselves from what they just did. It's like they're severing the cable connecting their action to reality. And this is how they do it, broken down into 4 steps. First, they just refuse to accept their role in the situation. Then, they try to shift reality itself. After that, they claim this kind of wide-eyed innocence. And in the process, they basically split their identity away from their own actions. It's wild. And check out the difference when you put them side by side. A healthy response is simple. You're right, I overstepped. It owns the reality. But the "is that so?" response? It does the complete opposite. It basically questions if your boundary is even real to begin with. It's a quiet but really potent form of gaslighting. Now, this whole thing isn't just some weird, isolated interaction. This kind of behavior is actually a symptom of a much bigger trend in our society, something that creates what you might call a liquid reality. There's a sociologist, Zygmunt Bauman, who called this liquid modernity. And the idea is that all the things we used to see as solid, social structures, truth, responsibility, even relationships, they're all starting to feel fluid, unstable. They're not solid ground we can stand on anymore. And the consequences of that? They're huge. When reality is liquid, we lose our common ground. An objective fact like "you used my perfume" gets treated like it's just, my opinion. That feeling of healthy shame, the thing that makes us want to fix our mistakes, it just evaporates. And in a world like that, taking responsibility, it becomes totally optional. Okay, so what do you do when you're faced with this? How do you have a real conversation without getting sucked into their liquid reality? How do you rebuild the structure? Well, there are 3 really powerful things you can do. Think of it like this. You become the architect of the conversation. And here's your toolkit. First, you state the undeniable facts. Ground them back in physical reality. Yes, that is so. I can literally smell the perfume on you. Second, you mark your own position, your boundary. For me, this feels like a violation. And third, and this one is key, you name the pattern. You ask, what makes it so hard to just acknowledge that this happened? See? You shift the conversation from the perfume to the evasion. But to really use that toolkit well, it helps to understand why. Why do people build these defensive walls in the first place? What's really going on back there? And here's the absolute heart of it. For a person who is deeply insecure, a simple confrontation doesn't feel like feedback. It feels like an existential threat. The message, "you used my perfume," gets translated in their head to "you are a fundamentally bad person." And their entire system just goes into red alert self-preservation mode. In that self-preservation mode, it looks a lot like a counterattack. You'll start to notice the tactics. They'll deny things that are obviously true. They'll pull what's called a U-turn, trying to deflect the blame back onto you for something else. Or they'll try to create intellectual doubt, making the very idea of having a boundary seem weird or unreasonable. Once you can see this pattern, though, everything changes. You make this incredible shift from being the confused victim of a bizarre conversation to becoming its clear-eyed architect. You are literally reclaiming your reality. And let me just say, if you've ever felt this way, your frustration is so valid. When someone does this to you, it isn't just annoying. It is a direct assault on your sense of what is real and what is fair. It's a psychological move designed to make you feel unstable. And I love this line from the source material. Once you get what's happening, you stop questioning yourself. Instead, you start to see the construction error in their argument, not a flaw in your own perception. And this completely flips your goal. You're no longer trying to win the argument about the perfume. That's the trap they've set for you. Your new goal is just to expose the broken, evasive pattern of the communication itself. You're not playing their game anymore, you're naming it. So, I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you have the blueprints, now that you're the architect, you can see these broken structures for what they really are. So the only question is, which conversational construction error are you going to notice first?